Mr. Pickard, you answered some of these questions at the beginning of Commissioner Lehman's testimony, but I want to press you a little bit further on it. In the now famous presidential daily briefing of August 6th, 2001, after a statement that the CIA had not been able to corroborate some of the more sensational threat reporting, there is that single line. The FBI is conducting approximately 70 full field investigations throughout the United States that it considers bin Laden related. Now, you quite rightly said that wasn't your sentence. You didn't write it. No one from the FBI wrote it. It was written by someone from the CIA after a conversation, a telephone conversation with someone at the FBI. Now, our staff says this about that statement. The 70 full field investigations number was checked out by the Joint Inquiry, and we looked at it too. It was indeed a number the Bureau used at the time. It was generously calculated to include all fundraising investigations around the country that might have a connection with UBL. It also counted each individual in an investigation as an individual full field investigation. Now, was not Commissioner Lehman correct in saying the normal recipient of a statement like that could easily take the interpretation, we've got it covered, that's what it meant? That's one question. The second question is this staff interpretation or investigation of what was meant by 70 full field investigations, correct as far as you're concerned? And my third question would be, had you been writing it up, would you have been more modest and more limited in what you claimed for the FBI?
First off, to your issue of do we got it covered, we could never say that.
No, I asked whether or not the recipient might well interpret the sentence that way.
I would never, especially with the experience I've had in counterintelligence and counterterrorism, you can never say you have it covered. You don't know what you don't know is the problem. You can only tell based upon the intelligence you have an understanding of where they're coming from and things like that. But I don't think anybody can say it's only as good as the intelligence you have. Just like 9/11, it was only as good as the intelligence we had, and we didn't have much. I'm sorry,
Second question is whether or not our staff characterization is correct.
I only learned about this when the PDB was released within the last couple of days. And when I was at FBI headquarters yesterday, I asked, could they explain to me these 70 cases, which I had no recollection of ever hearing about as a aggregated number. And they gave me a rundown on the 70 approximately cases, and I have that that I could provide to your staff afterwards, but I could give you some of the highlights that, as I said before, 2 of them were indicted and convicted on the East Africa bombing. 1 was indicted and convicted on another criminal case. 6 moved abroad and were passed off to the CIA. 4 were deported for immigration violations. 2 died through no fault of the CIA. But they might claim credit for them. 12 of the investigations were closed because the individuals did not have any connections with terrorism, as we had initially suspected. That just gives you some kind of context.
Okay, that's 12 out of 70. Were a number of them simply fundraising investigations?
That's the last question, Senator.
I'm sorry, but I do not know that, and the material they gave me yesterday does not expound on that. I'll be happy to ask Director Mueller.
Would you have characterized it a little bit differently if you had been reporting directly to the White House as a part of that PDB?
I would not want anyone to think the statement that we've got it covered or anything like that. We only know what we know. We don't know what al-Qaeda is, and the lack of penetration of al-Qaeda, as I said in my opening statement, we did not have great sources in al-Qaeda, and that's evidenced by 9/11. We did not, as George Tenet said, steal the secret.
Thank you.
Governor Thompson?